The Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Paranormal Oddities, the little store with the big heart, Niagara at the Western Block, one of the top-rated haunted destinations in Western New York, Dragonfly Art and Soul, metaphysical goods and classes, Mystery Control, your go-to feed for science, magic, true crime, paranormal, and much, much more. Hey everybody, Tim Shaw here. Glad that you're stopping by. This is an amazing night. You want to know why it's an amazing night? Because we have somebody on here that I absolutely adore. But before we bring her on, I got to ask everybody out there, with all this full moon stuff, is it crazy? Are you guys all getting crazy? Is it like insanity, like times 10? I think it is. I know there's so much that's been going on that I don't know. Everything's just a little weirder. Everything's a little stranger. Everything's a little bit more off key. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. I'm going to have to pick the mind of our guest tonight, because our guest will know all this stuff. She knows far more about all this stuff that I will ever know. I used to remember it, but I got old and now I've forgotten it. Thank God Kelly's around, because of the fact that somebody can go and take care of all my little, those blemishes that you forget. Well, anyway, I just got to tell you guys, our guest tonight is one of my favorites. She is, oh my God, a psychic medium. She is an energy healer. She is also, you know what? We're going to just bring her on, because I'll bore you guys by telling everything that she does. You know what? I think what we'll do is what she doesn't do. She doesn't do windows. Okay, guys, that's what it is. She doesn't do windows. She does everything else. She's phenomenal, and I love her to death. So please welcome media personality, psychic, and oh my God, psychic medium, Kelly Wahl. Kelly, welcome to the show again. Kelly, you know what? I have to say that I enjoy when you stop by, because it's always refreshing. It's always energetic. But, and I'm not kidding. There's, so much about energy. And we, as metaphysicians and people that work with it on a daily basis, even we sometimes take it for granted. And sometimes we even forget how the basic rules and laws are going on. Now, Kel, first of all, speaking about energy, how are you doing tonight?
Tonight, I am doing spectacular.
That's what I want to hear.
Now, I could not say that Monday night nor Tuesday. And as you were talking about the full moon, I just wanted to be like, even though this full moon is the worm moon, not the wolf moon, still, like you were saying, is everything a little bit more, you said weirder, but I'm going to say more weird, stranger, etc. And yes, indeed it is, because whether or not you saw it, it was a lunar eclipse this full moon.
Yes. And trust me, wasn't that 3 a.m. or something?
Yes. It was supposed to. Okay, now I did a lot of research, and then I told a lot of people, at least 3. And I said, there's going to be a lunar eclipse March 25th, and it starts at 53 minutes after midnight. And then the peak totality will be around 3 a.m. And then it will finish around 5 a.m. and change. And I got a couple of people to wake up, set their alarms. We're all looking, we're all looking. And it's funny because, even though we are spiritualists and light workers, I started to get that cynicism of being human.
Right.
And
Oh
when
my
I
God,
did
yes.
not see it, I started to say, perhaps the earth is flat. Perhaps the moon landing is indeed a hoax.
Oh.
And I bet you, I bet you Jimmy Hoffa,
Oh,
JFK, and Elvis are somewhere in like Missouri having a great party at our expense. I really, because I looked, I believed, I saw nothing. And there was nothing on the news either,
right.
because everything's
Right.
solar eclipse, solar eclipse,
Yeah.
solar eclipse, and nothing about the lunar eclipse. And then the next night it was, look outside, you're going to be able to see the northern lights tonight anywhere in the United States. And I said, oh, I'm real tired from the night before. But my face said, go
Yep.
on outside. And I saw nothing.
Ding.
So I started to go, okay, now this solar eclipse, I betcha it's going to be cloudy. And it's going to rain.
Hey, listen. I've already got money on that one. That everybody's going to be here in Buffalo and Rochester and Syracuse, and it's going to be overcast. The only thing that we're going to see is absolute darkness for X amount of
Right,
minutes, and
right.
then that's going to be it. And that,
Which, Tim, it makes me wonder, the conspiracy theorist that I am. Well, then what's the government trying to not have us pay attention to by saying, look over here. But that's a whole nother show, right?
Wait a minute, I'm going to bring Dean Haglund on. So one of these nights with us. So he was one of the lone gunmen. He was one of the big conspiracy people back on TV, back in the X Files. I'll bring him on and we can discuss it. He's always good for a crazy conversation like that, even though he says I'm nothing like my character. But that's all right. We'll
Aren't
force
we
him to
all
be
just a little bit
a
like our
tiny,
characters? But
just
this
a tad.
this full moon, though, I mean, of
Yeah,
course, because with the lunar eclipse, a full moon, the moon represents emotions.
right,
So, of course, it's going to heighten our emotions. Now, given that there is an eclipse,
right,
which means, what do we keep in the dark that is being brought to the light? I'll tell you, fear, insecurity, self doubt, self sabotage, etc.
agreed.
So, of course, it's like a full moon with a lunar eclipse is a full moon on crack or times 10. Now, the fact that we are in Aries sun season, so the sun sign is our reality, our personality.
Correct,
Aries,
correct.
that fire energy. It's that I want to get going. I've been waiting for spring to spring. I want to get going. We've been put on pause too many times over the last 2, 3 years. And the time change, the daylight saving time was early. Easter is early. So
Early,
spring is
yes,
wanting to spring.
yes.
And then in Buffalo or Western New York, we got that taste of some nice spring like weather. And then last weekend it was, here's some snow. Calm the F down. And it was because as we are approaching my favorite Mercury Gatorade, I mean retrograde.
Mercury Gatorade.
You're like,
That's a
oh,
first one, Kelly. I've never.
you're kidding.
I've been kicking around a while. I've never heard Mercury Gatorade.
Oh my God,
So
it's the
you've already
whole
got
thing.
you. It was worth having you on the show just for that.
But it's like, this meme about like people who just, get these bubblegum pop phrases and think because they read two memes that they know what's going on astrologically. So they're like,
Right.
I don't know, but Mercury's in Gatorade or something.
Let me
Now
ask
what?
you this. Now, you know what? It's funny because I know a lot of metaphysicians that talk about Mercury in retrograde constantly, constantly. It's like
Right.
almost like, wait a minute,
It's the only
is
planet that goes in retrograde.
yeah. I don't understand it. But yet on the other hand, I know a couple hoodoo and voodoo people. They're like nonsense, absolutely
Yes.
nonsense. Now,
Right.
I got to tell you what, the proof is in the pudding because for years I denied this. Of course, I denied stones. I denied so many
Ruins,
things.
right?
And I always denied the Mercury in retrograde until I paid attention to it. And then I was like, ugh, there's a huge ick factor going on right now.
There is.
And, and having worked in a hospital, I mean, full moon and hardcore Mercury in retrograde were the two worst times. Uh, I mean, it was just insane. The ER was always full of people. It was
Right.
always crazy. People had to be had to be shackled. I mean, people were running trying to get out windows, and security would be running after people down corridors, and it was amazing because how we as humans can be affected by this
Mhm.
physiologically.
Well, I just said to someone, I said, of course, if the moon has to do, it has effect with the tides. It has effect with water because it's made
Right.
up mostly of water, and we ourselves are 85% water. Then of
Exactly.
course we're going to be affected by it, and that's why the moon is about our emotions, and the sun is
Exactly.
our reality and personality. So when somebody says, oh, I'm an Aries, I was born on March 25th, it's like that's your sun sign. And then, given the time in which you're born and the location, that's your moon sign. And I always say between the two is you, because it's about integrating your personality
Right.
with your
Right.
emotion.
Right.
So the fact that this full moon was in the sign of Libra, what do we think of with Libra? Balance of the scales.
Exactly.
And then it's in the sun sign of Aries, and it all has to do with, because Libra is ruled by Venus, it all has to do about relationships right now. Relationships, relationships, relationships. And what's the number one relationship? With ourselves. So then
Now,
we
what
get,
this is that's something that again, now that's something that I've known about, but so many people don't because they externalize everything. Everything isn't always external. It can be
and that's
internal.
where a retrograde comes in, because anytime you hear retrograde, it's your RE words, like
Right.
retrospect, review, um, recharge, review, rest. It's all those things. It's about going inward. So the fact that, yes, Mercury goes into retrograde because it's a smaller planet about 3, sometimes 4 times a year, but it's
Right.
a small cycle. Like, get more worried when Pluto's in retrograde. Get more worried when Mars is in retrograde, which they have come out of, because that takes like 2.5 years. So Mercury retrograde is like the snooze button on your alarm clock. It's just it's time to rest just a little longer. I need that extra 9 minutes.
I've never heard it explained like that. That's
Which
that's awesome. That is so awesome. But it's so true.
it
And
is. And
and
Mercury's about karma, so I'm kind of like, she gets a bad rap. And
yeah,
it's just about communication. How do we communicate? Through electronics, emails, texts, and it's about how we hear things. So this Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Aries, though, the most stubborn, aggressive sign in the zodiac wheel. So it's that fire energy, and it's about being sharp tongued, about how we
not us.
hear,
Wait a
how,
minute. Not us. Everybody but us. We are not, neither one of us are sharp tongued.
oh no, no. I'm always choose to walk in the light of love. No, no, no. Tim, the best is at Lilydale. And I'm not putting it down. My disclaimer, I am not putting this down. When we give messages at the stop,
Right.
and then at the end we say, and I leave you with that. Well, if you just change the influx on that, and I leave you with that.
That's me.
That's me.
That's exactly. See, this is why we get along so well because it's like, listen, not my message. You take it. I don't
Right.
care. Done.
And I leave you with
Enjoy.
that. Right.
Please
And I leave you
enjoy.
with that.
I
Make
always
you
the
with
hand
that
goes
what
up.
you
Always
want.
like this. Please take it. Take it. I don't want this anymore. Take it. It's
Right.
all yours. You know. Don't know. Don't know. Cal, what are we gonna? This with this whole eclipse coming up and the energy that's surrounding it. And I have to, and I have to go, and I have to agree with you that this energy, I think, is going to really affect people. And I'm not, you know what? I hate to say a negative way. It feels as if it's going to make people short tempered, short sighted, short
Because we're in
everything.
the sign of Aries. It's all
Oh,
about the fire. It's all about the fire. And what does the ram do? The ram puts its head down and "Rrr." So, okay, the bottom
wait a minute.
line,
You saw a video of me back in disco, right? That's what you're describing back. But oh,
you,
anyway,
Uncle
no.
Sam's, no.
Yeah, well, hey, so listen, somebody had to work the door back then.
Oh, let me tell you, 1997, best year of my life. I was a cocktail waitress at Jacoby's nightclub. I knew how to spin that tray.
Doorman, floorman, baby. If you spoke out, I bounced you. That's the way it worked. But we
Now,
digress.
right. The big thing with this solar eclipse,
Right.
it's this, we've got to burn off these past wounds. So we've got this whole fire energy of Aries.
Right.
And if you look, yes, we've got this huge, line across, the great American total solar eclipse, right? Okay, you guys get it. And
We've all
now,
seen the diagram.
right. And but what it represents, and this is the key thing, if I could drive this home, it's about us as individuals drawing a line in the sand and saying, I will no longer blank. Now, what is it? We've got Chiron on the other side of this. Chiron, the wounded healer, who is really the Centaur Sagittarius. And
Hmm.
Chiron, however you want to pronounce it, actually, the archer that taught Hercules how to become a great warrior and an archer and everything. But yet, Chiron was then during battle hit with one of the arrows that he helped Hercules, poisonous arrow, hitting himself. But because he was immortal, he had to spend eternity in pain, kind of in that limbo. And then finally, Hercules went to, I don't know, Osiris or something. I'm bastardizing this at this point. But then made a deal saying, please give Chiron mortality so that he may die and be free from pain. But Chiron he took in everyone's pain and he carried it. So it's about asking ourselves as we draw this line in the sand and saying, I will no longer give my energy to past wounds, past trauma, past relationships. I must forgive. And the biggest thing is we must forgive ourselves. We must forgive ourselves for allowing our
Hmm.
energy to, like, drinking the poison, expecting the other people to give the apology we're never going to get. It's about releasing that from ourselves and saying, you know what? The biggest thing I learned is what I do not want, which helps me figure out what I do want. That's the line in the sand, giving us the courage to then go across the plane, bring out our fear from the dark, bring it to light, burn it off, and walk no longer attached to the pain of our wounds. All right, thank you very much, people. It's been great. See ya.
We're here all week. Anyway, support.
My
Remember
next
your
show's at
servers.
11.
Support. Tip your servers. That's all I got to say, people. But Kel, that is all. That's a lot of the Buddhist, like the Buddhist philosophy of radical acceptance, because radical acceptance works on the exact same I'll just say frequency, because that's the way I always look at it, because of the fact that we have to go and we have to forgive ourselves. We have to go and not go and carry all that burden with us all the time. And now is the perfect time to do it. And I really think that this is, again, there's so many things going on. A lot of people have come up to me and are worried about the negativity that may be going on, especially during this time. But I think it's a good thing. Once we're through the eclipse, I think that there's going to be so much positive energy out there. It's going to be renewed. It's going to be recycled. It's almost like the Reiki philosophy of sending whatever is coming through into the earth, and then let it be recycled back out into the ethers. And people aren't getting that. People automatically are worried that there's so much going on. Well, let's face it. I mean, our politicians are already
Oh,
declaring a state of
oh,
emergency, and make sure you got drinking water, a week's
right.
worth of
This
food.
isn't Y2K.
Yeah, this is exactly it. You know what? We're going to get an influx of tourists. It's going to be
Right.
like a mega Bills game. That's what it's going to be like.
Yeah,
If we
it's
had a
gonna
suit,
finally be like the Super Bowl.
yeah, exactly. That's
There's gonna be
exactly
cars
what it's going to
tipping
be.
over.
Oh,
Now, funny that you bring up politics, and I'm just gonna like skim the surface here. Now, the last partial solar eclipse we had was in 2017.
right,
Who was
right.
running? Biden and Trump.
Yes.
What do we have leading up now? So, and Texas is a huge thing going on.
Yep.
And where's
Yep.
Texas near? The border. What
Yep.
are we having an issue with?
The border.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
yes, Trump, ego, ego, ego. However, this is a do over. This is like a mulligan. This is saying we need radical change.
Yes.
And given, I really, as much as Trump, ego, 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 I feel as though he's had one scoop of humility to say, you know what? He was righteous in the fact of he wanted to make America great again. He was too self-righteous, too ego. This time he wants to prove it through righteousness of doing right and saying, okay, I've learned from my mistakes. I need this do-over because I truly do want to make it right given what I've learned. And that's to not do so much out of ego to prove I'm the man. Now let
Exactly.
me show you. So it's very interesting, this, parallel. And if you really, now let's personalize it. What were you doing in 2017? What were you going through in life? What major decisions did you have to make? And are they creeping back up with this eclipse?
It's amazing how everything repeats itself. It's amazing how we become mirror images of ourselves. And speaking about mirror imaging, Brad Kling, one of the best looking half of the Kling brothers, whom I've worked with many, many times, is in the room. And he is from where else? Texas.
Uh-huh. What part?
San Antonio, I believe he's from.
Oh, right
Or that
near the
area. I believe
Mexican
he's from
border.
San Antonio. I can never quite remember. And he'll take me to task. But his father was from Pittsburgh. So we won't hold that against him.
It's like a sun sign and a moon sign.
Exactly. What is Lisa? What did you say here? I missed you. Oh, it'll be cloudy. We won't see a thing.
Right,
We'll
yeah.
feel it, but we won't see it.
But you know what? That comes back to the lunar eclipse that we just experienced on early Monday morning. I didn't see it, but sure as shit, we all felt it.
Yep.
Especially like driving. People were crazy. I'm telling you, like, please be very cautious of your surroundings because so many people are just Aries. Another great attribute of Aries is me, myself, and I. Me. So they're on the road and they're like, "Hey, I got to get to where I'm going. Screw you." So
No, you didn't. No, you didn't see me going to Aldi's this morning. No, that was me. That was me.
Were you going down the aisle of shame?
Listen, I live on the Isle of Shame. What are you talking about? That
I
you
came
have.
in for some eggs, a little orange juice, and
Wait a minute. Look
foot
at this.
sander.
Look at these slippers I got that have. I got an all. Listen, look at this. All these baseball. I can't leave without an all these baseball cap. That's the way it works. Wait a minute. Spirit told me to stop here. What's here? Oh, look.
And a
1 pound.
hammock.
1 pound ankle weights. That'll do a lot for me. Oh, I think I'll get up 10 pairs of those. Oh
Oh,
my
I
God.
do love all these.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was a shameless plug. Now everybody's going to be finding me on on Tuesday mornings at
Yep,
Aldi's.
the Isle of Shame.
That's it.
Look for Tim Shaw in the Isle of Shame.
8x10 glossies for sale.
And then brought to you by Aldi's.
Aldi's. Oh my God. Kelly, you're too much. Kel, I got to ask you something about energy. Let's talk a little bit about just energy. And I had a discussion with somebody once, and he believed that energy was good energy and bad energy and all this. And I don't know so much about the way I feel about that. I always felt that energy was neutral until it was affected by something. And as being a paranormal investigator, the thing that I have found is that sometimes you can go into a location and you can feel energy. I know I can feel, and you can do the same thing. You do location walkthrough, and you can feel the energy. But sometimes that energy is wonky or it's good, but it's affected by something else. So whether it's an energetic personality or whatever,
Right.
but energy in general, I think can be manipulated through intent, through manifestation. Do you feel
Well,
that people
think
in
about it. We've all heard of energy vampires.
right,
And
right,
literally, so it's like there is energy in the room. There is energy.
exactly,
Now you can walk in and your energy is neutral because you're reading the room.
right.
And then all of a sudden you go over here to this part of like this group or something. And I used to give people a bad rap about, well, like even when I'm in line at, oh, let's say a store, and you're in line, and all of a sudden somebody's like, oh God, you think they'd open up another register? Or geez, with all these people. That to me, I had to recognize that people want connectivity. However, they feel like awkward if they were to say, oh my God, I'm so glad that there's such a line here so that I can talk to you or that I can just take a minute to breathe. No, they would be looked at like, who's this freak? Instead, they have to say something negative. So, and then that negativity feeds. The next thing you know, the next person's going, tell me about it. And this one's so slow. And this one's got, 15 items. But it's the brain is wired that way to accept negativity 10 times longer than
But
positivity.
it's easier to accept negativity. You know as well as
Yeah.
I do. It's easier to
Well, just
hate.
like people
Exactly.
in our genre. So my sister, she was dating this guy, and I was doing a vow renewal ceremony, and it was on a Thursday afternoon. And this guy's going like, I don't understand, why would you be doing this? And I said, well, astrologically, it's the same occurrence as when the actual event happened. And then he's like, this is like something hippies in California would do. I don't understand what's going on. But then he experienced it. But because he didn't understand it, he had to make fun of it. So it's like energy is there, and then
Hmm.
people are the vessel or the conduit
Exactly.
to which way is it going to go, and then how are you going to receive it. So we've all been around that energy vampire, and then we kind of like, we're like, I'm going to go over here, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, this person's fun, this person's smiling, this person's inviting and welcoming, and then the vibration raises or rises.
Kelly, got a quick question for you. Would you like to do a couple readings?
I
Okay.
would love to see my
Let me
energy rise.
that's well, I'm sitting here going, I can feel that. I can feel it. Uh so guys in the chat room, just say I want a reading, and I'll try to catch a couple of you guys as you're going through while I'm telling Kelly a story. Now, once upon a time, yours truly was walking through a store, and yours truly was standing in line, a very, very long line. And there was a man behind me with bananas, and that's all he had. And I usually would let a person like that go in front of me, except he started belly aching. And he turned around and he started saying something to the one behind him. And now I'm just trying to go, I'm just gonna just I don't want to go, and I'm not gonna be that person.
Reflecting.
Just I'm zen. I'm trying to be zen. I made the fatal mistake of just looking back, and he caught my eye. So that was his opening. So he starts up, ba 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 ba. I went like this. Don't talk to me. Just the shield went bink. That was the end of it. That was the end of it. Nobody. That was the very nobody. Nope. Nobody said another word after that. And I saw the one cashier go.
Right. Yep.
We have, you know what, the very first person that came up was Kenneth, and Kenneth is a great spiritualist. He comes to stay at Lilydale every so often, and he's a great person with the show, and what do you have for Kenneth?
Okay. So I feel as though, and even though you just said that he comes to Lilydale, so he's not in New York State, correct? And I
Correct.
know we're on a delay here. And Kenneth, I feel as though, okay, Kenneth, I feel as though his upbringing, especially, he's always feeling as though he's the underdog.
Mhm.
And therefore, he really strives to stand up for those whom are bullied or put down. He's all about, justice and being fair because he knows in turn what it is like to feel that way. Could be a middle child syndrome, could be an only child syndrome. However, and I feel as though he does a lot online because it's a lot of safety, like protection in your own sacred space, but still able to have that courage, or this way, to stand up and say his beliefs. And I feel as though when he gets in a confrontational issue with somebody, especially in person one on one, he has so much emotion. And think about that. Here's the heart chakra. And he's got so much passion and everything that he has trouble putting it into words without either trembling, it's like speak your truth even if your voice shakes, or it's that I have so much passion that it's going to come out in anger. And if you think about it, anger is hurt's bodyguard. So with
Right.
his wounds, with his past hurts, and he takes in highly empathetic, he takes in other people's wounds, but wants to stand up to them. Just like I said about Chiron, however you want to pronounce it. So there's a lot of this, Sagittarius energy of wanting to fight for what is right. And I want to say that from spirit, what I'm getting is that your efforts are not going unapplauded. And this is like what I'm literally hearing in words, the word, they're not going unapplauded. So applause to you being behind the scenes, helping others in your way, but also with the fact that this year 2024 is an 8 year in numerology. So it's all about what you put in is what you will get back. And I'm hearing that you, Kenneth, have done the work. It's time, but you're so used to always having to react, or it's almost like your nervous system is on that firing all the time that you don't know how to relax, take a step back, and just allow the other side of that infinity symbol to come back to you. And I want to say that there's an emphasis on relationships, especially with this. So I feel as though whether you're in a relationship or looking for a relationship, what you have put in, you have to allow that to come back on its own timeline energetically. But if you keep looking for it, and wanting it, and going, I don't know why it's not happening, you're deflecting it, and holding on to what you're not receiving is blocking something new from coming in. I hope you understand that. When we hold on to something, like when people even hold on to hurt, I'm so hurt, I'm so hurt. You have no room. You have no room left to allow something else to come in. So again, with this great solar eclipse, it's about drawing that line in the sand and saying, I release this. I'm not going to hold on to this anymore. This is not my identity. And I genuinely leave you with that. I hope it resonates.
Oh, I think it will, because Kenneth is a great guy. And Kenneth, I just want to let you know, I'm just going to add a little bit on to Kelly, and I just want to let you know that this is a positive year for more learning for you. You're on the precipice of what you've always wanted to be. The problem with you is that it's always that last step. It's like somebody who goes and loses weight. Everybody has that goal weight, and all of a sudden you're in that last 3 pounds where you have that goal weight, and it's so scary that you're actually achieving it. And with you have a genuine love, We talked about your passion, but now is the time for you to actualize who you are, what you are, and accept everything that goes with it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And sometimes the ugly is there, but the good will always surmount it. It will always overcome it. And I know you as a kind person, and I know you as a genuinely loving person. And this year will go and probably bring you a few more gifts than what you think that you have. The other thing is you think that you're kind of pigeonholed in one thing, one modality. You're not even close, kiddo. This is just the first steps after. Listen, you know what? It's a slip and slide. Put your hands up, say, I surrender, and rock and roll with it, because otherwise you're going to go. Kenneth, that was great. We have Mary Barnum. Mary Barnum she's a wonderful person. I know her husband very well. And Mary would like a reading.
Hi, Mary. As soon as I get into your vibration, my heart is overwhelmed. It almost feels as though it's going to explode. So to me, that's saying that you take so much in, and right away I just want to cry. And I feel as though the crying and the heart expanding is almost as though you were too plugged into, the cell, the hold on, I'm getting like this. I'm getting a huge Lily Dale vibe, like my mentor Shirley Culkin Smith was from Lily Dale, and something about the cell of being a part of the whole. And so it's like you care so much about humanity that you're not turning it down. And we have to remember, as empaths, as light workers, as psychics, whatever term you want to use, that we still are human. And just like any relationship, whether it's with somebody here on the earth plane or with spirit or those, we can say, hey, this is a little too much right now. Could you dial it down a little bit? This is draining me too much. This is affecting me too much. And put up your shield, put up your, do your things that ground you and say, this is what is for me. Okay, this is mine, but the rest, this is not for me to carry. I can give concern, I can give energy, I can pray for it, but it's not for me to take in 100% fully. And I feel as though you are a servant to so many. And that's the thing. You're not filling up your cup. So the cup is not a coffee cup. It's not a grab your Joe and go. It's a teacup. Take time, boil the water, put the tea bag in, let it steed. Even if that cup is full, it's yours, everything in there. Now, when something spills out of the saucer, that's what you give. So it's about, and I keep hearing getting back to basics, getting back to basics. Like you have this giant, it's not a tool belt, it's like a treasure chest or hope chest, hope, because I keep getting the word hope. And that's where you have all your tools of spirituality and everything else. It's like the doctor has trouble diagnosing himself because he's too close to it. And you have all the tools of everything you need. You have to get back to basics and say, wait a minute, I've got this. I know how to just turn it down a little bit and do for you. I hope that makes sense.
Well, first off, I just want to let you know Mary Barnum is Jim Barnum's wife from Lilydale. They lived down there
Oh,
for many, many
in
years. You
the
know
red
Jim?
house?
Yeah, in the Red House. You know
That
that.
house always reminds me of like something out of like, I don't know, like a model house, and the grass is
Hmm.
super green and everything. Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's where I got the lily.
they've since moved outside of the community, but they're still somewhat active. And Jim has always been one of my. Uh, I always looked up to Jim because Jim is one of those people that you can, he's just so giving, and he's just such a great reader. So I was thrilled when she jumped on. I said, that's great. Hey, we got one right here. What do we got here? Oh, Lisa Marie. Lisa Lisa Marie is Lisa Marie is someone I know through paranormal circles, and I'm just gonna give her just a couple things, and I'll turn it right over to you, Lisa. I just got to tell you right now that it's a time of change for you. You're a couple steps into it already, but the cycle has not really kicked in the full gear. You've got a little bit. You got to probably another month. Everything is going to kind of fall back into place. It's like a gear. It's all going to be. It's all going to find its roots. But the problem is going to be until that time, you're going to be feel a little off. And if that happens, that's going to be a work situation. It's going to be a friendship situation. The friendship situation seems to be paramount right now in my mind. I don't know why. There's a question mark, and there's some problems. Okay, how can I say this without becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy? Uh, there is a few things that you're not. It's not you. It's somebody else. It's there. You can be a shoulder to cry on, but you have to go and you have to let that person take the initiative. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Kel.
Um, right away, yes, so many things. I'm just basically going to kind of say it differently. And the fact that, and real quick, I want to say today I was having a real insecure episode, very depressed, very, do I matter, etc. And Elvis is my way of really getting to a higher power and feeling my father. And all of a sudden I said, hey Alexa, I need some uplifting music. And I said, play Tiger King from Elvis. And Alexa said, I don't know that song. Here's another song by Elvis. And it was Love Me Tender, which is my dad's song to me. And it's about, um, and you will be forever mine until the end of time, which time is a man-made construct. So even though my father's no longer
Mhm.
here, we speak to one another energetically. And he is my hero. And everything that your hero stands for, even when they've passed, must live on through you. Now, Lisa Marie, his daughter, was also his protector, protecting his legacy. And I feel as though
Right.
you have done so much, and I'm getting chills on this one, protecting others, that you then, and Tim, as you said earlier, it's like we also have a fear of success because it's foreign to us. Feeling good is foreign. We've been taught to, who are you to
Exactly.
feel good
Oh my
about
God.
yourself?
Yes. Yes.
So it's this self sabotage because I don't want to succeed. I don't know how it feels to succeed. So you have to have the courage. Now is the time to have the courage. And I feel as though there's some Gemini in your chart that late May, Gemini, Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, which is like Santa Claus. So take this time now to make a list that's putting, pen to action about what it is you wish to have. Now is the time you're learning. You already know what it is you need to draw a line in the sand to let go because it's killing you. And you want to let it go. And you're ready to take the leap. The net is there. Again, you have to go on for you. Otherwise, you are doing a disservice not only to yourself, and I feel strongly, I don't know if your father's in spirit, but somebody, a male in spirit who thinks so highly of you, wants the best for you, and is also your protector, is saying, you have to do for you. You have to do for you. Now is your time. And I wish you all the best with that, and really set the things into motion that you've been thinking about now. Write them down. I feel as though, the Nikola Tesla 369, write it down. That's drawing more energy towards you, giving you the strength. After the eclipse, you're going to feel even stronger, but then you're still going to be, because we're human, it's not like New Year's
Exactly.
Eve, which I want to say the new moon in Aries is the start of the zodiac cycle. So let this be our new year right now, this springtime, this Aries new moon. And then you can really start to get that momentum in late May, early June. Lisa Marie, you're going to go, why didn't I do this earlier? Who cares if you didn't do it earlier? You're doing it now. And that's what I have for you.
Perfect. We have next on the docket Mary Lou McMahon. How are you?
Who's going first, Tim?
I'm going to let you go first.
All right.
Ladies first today.
I feel as though Mary Lou, whether it is an actual occupation, but I feel as though you're in the caregiving um, field, but there's also a trickle of administration. So whether or not you are more in administration, you care about your employees or what it is you're doing, or the fact that yes, that may be your job, but then you come home and you're a caregiver to so many. And again, I'm getting look in the mirror, and I feel as though there is a woman here in spirit. I feel as though maybe mother, but definitely mom's side of the family, grandmother, etc. See, you're a nurse. There we go. And I bet you're more, you're not just a nurse, you're more in the, and I don't know, like you have to, I don't know if it's a union thing or what, but like having to answer administratively to things on top of being a nurse. Feel me? And I feel as though, you know, give, and you're not recharging. You're not recharging. And I feel as though it's starting to weigh on you physically in a health issue on top of just lethargy, malaise, etc. And I feel as though you're getting concerned about, oh my God, is there something wrong? Stop feeding that. Stop feeding those thoughts. And I get with that also, that you are literally emotionally feeding, eating, even though you know, like, I'm not even hungry. I don't know why. Everything is apathetic. Nothing has the taste, nothing has a flavor. And what I'm being told is like I have a spirit guide like from India, because I'm getting like this Ayurvedic kind of spring is the time to kind of cleanse
Mm-hmm.
things. So I don't know if you're a Virgo, because I get the purification, but like kind of like if everything already tastes bland, then take that as your cue to kind of do like a, lots of broths, steamed vegetables, etc. And this is the time to clean out your system. Stop with the heavy carbs, stop with the added sugars to get you going, because it's like you're getting that spark less and less and less. Where get back to the purity of things so that it can clean you out, less bloating, and everything will help your gut health, which helps your brain health, which then in turn, where do we get our intuition from? Our gut instinct. So if you clean that up, you're going to be thinking more clearly and trusting in your intuition more.
Well, I'm going to just jump on that because there's a gentleman that stands behind her. He's got both hands on her shoulders, and his pats her on one of his hands. His left hand pats her on the shoulder, and says, "You know what? And the symbol that I use for this is why don't they write? And the symbol and what it is that you're not hearing what he's trying to tell you. It's sort of like that there's somebody there, that there's somebody on the other side supporting you, but you're not getting the true message of what they're trying to say. And the whole bottom line of it is, and I'm not sure if this is a father figure, grandfather figure. I know it's in the bloodline someplace, but I have to say that they're proud of you. They're very, very proud of you, but they want you to be very careful. Walk a fine line between work and your personal life. He doesn't want you to bring this stuff home with you because of the fact that you have to have and rebuild a sanctuary for yourself. It feels like what's happening, what they're showing me is the destroyed castle of the tarot cards. And what it is, and it's not so much literally that, but it feels as if somehow things are creeping into your personal life, and you have to be able to go and just forget about it. Sometimes you have to take a forest bath, get out in nature. You have to go and make sure that you're regrounded in nature. You have to be able to go and take the time in order to breathe in silence. You don't need the chaos. You don't need all that energy that is just trying to go and become like a magnet and pull all of your healing away from you because you're in this needy situation. So it's time for you to take a little bit of time for yourself. Now, I would say, you know, Kelly and you ought to take a Caribbean cruise someplace and just go and get the sun. But I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to say for now, just get out, and you need the time to breathe. And unfortunately, in this life, we forget to take care of ourselves. And self care, Kelly, you know yourself, self care is so important to what we do, to what you do in order to survive in this human race. Now, hey, I've got, let's say, one more person. One
Wait,
more.
before we get to that
Oh, go
person, I
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
want to remind everybody, because what you said about breathe, and as a society we don't breathe authentically. We
No,
breathe
we
from
don't.
here, and it's like you'll see somebody upset and you'll say, are you okay? And they're like, I'm fine.
Everything's from
They're
here. Yes.
gasping for air, and it just comes to here. i'm, I'm fine. And then, now I used to give smokers a bad rap, and I used to be like, oh my God, do you even know what you're doing? But you know what they are doing? They're saying, I am so upset right now, I got to go for a smoke. And they remove themselves from the
Of the
structure,
situation. Yes.
and they go, and then they start venting about it, and they light up, and they're, oh, I've got to, and then they're talking and they're keeping it in. My mother could recite the Gettysburg on this, I know. And then, so hey, I got to go for a smoke break, but you don't smoke. Oh, but don't I? Because I'm smoking right now.
Well, but
And
that's it. Everybody doesn't realize that we're not made to breathe everything up here. This is anxiety. This is total anxiety from up here. The minute I suffer from panic attacks, especially when I'm in airports. I'm the world's worst flyer. So I get like it's all from up here. So you have to learn and force yourself to breathe from the diaphragm, to be able to go and allow your whole body to be a part of the process. And only then can you go and open yourself up and let that healing energy just kind of flow through you. And it's,
and
yeah,
and when we stop breathing, if you watch any, whatever crime show, medical show, it's like the date of expiration.
right.
However, when we breathe in, that's called inspiration. So what do? We are inspiring. We are bringing oxygen to
Exactly.
ourselves.
Exactly.
I am inspired.
Exactly. And last but not least,
Yeah.
I'm going to go and I'm going to have a little nepotism here because my long suffering darling wife would like a reading. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go real quickly and say she's married to a great guy that really loves her to death, would walk over coals. Of course, his feet are kind of like sensitive, and make sure he gets Reiki or reflexology and Reiki once a month, this whole thing. But she would like a reading, Miss Kelly. So I'll step aside because she's tired of hearing me talk.
So I'm honored by this, and it's so funny because Nancy, and I saw your picture from the Clarence Chamber of Commerce.
Commerce, yes.
Stunning.
Cleans up pretty well, doesn't she?
Oh, just stunning. Like everything I said was perfect. The length of your hair, it accents the frame of your face, the chin, the color, your smile was beautiful. Literally, you are beauty that was pouring from the inside out, beaming. You cannot hide your light under a bushel any longer. No more hiding in the shadows. And you know what? I'm sorry, I meant to say that for Kenneth as well. But yes, you are a great supporting role, but you underplay yourself and your hand, because I keep getting the phrase, because of you, I am. Do you understand this? Of course you do. Also, it's so funny because a while ago, Tim had said something to me and he called you Nan, short for Nancy. And it's funny because that's my mother's nickname to her grandchildren is Nan. And so it's the playfulness, but also the I want to say strategic way that you do things. You are, you know, I said to Tim earlier, the tent goes up, the tent goes down, but all people see is the show. Nobody pays attention to remember, I'm getting like this vision of in the theater and the people dressed all in black and they're holding like the scenery and stuff, and that's you. But you're not crediting yourself that you are so much more strength. And I feel as though it is time for you to come just a little bit out from the behind the scenes. And I feel as though, I don't know if you write, but I feel as though you have a book that needs to be finished. And whether it's a collection of things or a collaboration, but it's time for you to stand out and have your voice be heard, because there are so many. It's almost like when somebody's sick, nobody asks about how the caregiver is, which can be more taxing. And I feel as though that's the story that you need to tell others, is your experiences and how you maneuver things. I just, no matter what I say, and I also hear, I feel as though now, Tim, you'll help me with this. Is her mother in spirit?
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
strongly she steps in, because I was kind of like, oh, you're not done. If you don't chime in and say hello from me and
Oh,
tell her thank you. Thank you. And that's another thing, that your mom comes
yes.
in and says that you dismiss when people are thanking you for something. You down, oh, it was nothing. Oh no. No, it was something. And you did it. And so many times we get caught up with being hurt, that we go out and we do something, and then wow, that person wouldn't do the same or even think of doing the same for us. And that's what the difference is. And then we can get hurt by like, well, of course I would do that. But then the reality is, how many people don't do that? And so she's saying again, thank you. And you have to, like, I literally almost get deaf in my right ear here. And I feel like I want to take the cotton out of it, and like have your ears pop and hear how much acclimates and appreciation people have for you, that when they say, wow, you are so beautiful, if you could only see yourself from our eyes, you shine, and thank you. And that's what I have for you.
Wow. I'm in good standings now. I'm all set, Cal. Thank you. But yeah, you're 100%. I'll tell you what, you're really on the ball with that. Really. You know what? Let's just do. You know what? What? Can we just do one more? I have a friend from across the pond, Colette, and Colette is a great is a great. She's always on. She always stops in the visit, and she's always in the show. One of these days, Colette and I are going to meet someplace, probably in Bora Bora or something like that. But I have to, Colette, I'm just going to start off real quickly, because what I'm getting right now is I'm getting a card in which there's cats, and there's all sorts of cats. It's like a tarot, like an oracle card, and it's full of cats. But the moon is going, and the moon is glowing. It's at night. It's a whole scene at night. And what I love about it is it's illuminating their eyes. And what that seems to me is Spirit is trying to tell you that yes, the stuff that you're doubting is already there. That shadow person that you think that you saw out of the corner of your eye is there. I don't know if your father's in spirit. It's either a father or a grandfather, and it's on a maternal side. And the whole idea, the whole religion, I won't say they weren't spiritualists, but they were spiritual, and they were very, very open to communication with the other side, the old ways. And I have to tell you that you have a natural ability of this to go on, and what you're hearing is right. The other thing I have to tell you is, you know what? Wait till about June or July, because there's a short windfall of money that comes to you. Very small, not a lot, but it's something that you will put to good use. And that's something that I really love to say. The other thing is I'm feeling, well, the way I read aura, it's green around you, which means it's an aura of health. And that, I think, is really something that's important, because that's something that you need to know. That I don't know if there's a health matter going on that you might be thinking about, but I do believe that it's very, very strong. And I believe that this aura means that whatever it is, and again, we don't diagnose and we don't prescribe, I want to tell you that it's something that is very good. I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, Kel, it's up to you, kid. You got the hardest job because you have got it. Your anchor. You're closing out this show now.
All right, Colette. Um, right away though, I was getting this around like a band around my head, almost like closing in, a lot of pain, a lot of headache. And it's like because you're stuck between what you feel, but then over analyzing, or should I say over analyzing it and depicting it. And then because you take things in so strongly, but then want to dismiss that you have the ability to do this. And that's why I think the color green, because of that heart chakra, the pure intention. But also, as I was getting this band across the forehead, there's also a lot of stress. And a lot of that comes from feeling like you're under judgment, under somebody's thumb, under scrutiny all the time. And a lot of that is this perfectionism that you have always and continue to place upon yourself. I also feel as though, as I get into, and I don't really get into past lives, but I feel as though I keep getting like this persecuted. And I was getting like Puritans, as Tim was talking about spiritualists and stuff. I was getting Puritans, but I was getting like this whole the Diary of Anne Frank, this persecution that you had to go into hiding. So I don't know if there's any like Jewish roots or anything in your family tree or something like that, but I feel as though strongly this is a past life thing. Again, as I get into this band, I feel as though you get a lot of sinusitis or allergies, and the way that the weather has been wonky with like, oh, it's 60 degrees, oh, it's 40 and raining, and yeah. And again, that could be past life of being an elemental witch, relying on, the elements, wind, water, grounding, etc. But I feel as though you also may get migraines or ocular migraines, and I'd love to know more about this. So, but you have to realize that when we have a sinus issue, that has to deal with our third eye as well. And that either we are trying to, no, I don't want this, I don't have this, or it's coming in so much that we get stuffy so that we can, not have it so intensely. It's our subconscious saying, I don't want this, I don't want this. So I'm like, kind of play with this, and again, I'm getting like irrigation or something where like I do a neti pot, I do a nasal lavage, etc. But it's time for you to trust your instincts. Stop worrying so much, even though I spoke a lot about past lives. Tim touched upon it. Deal with the present, with you being here and now, and trust in what it is that you wish to do. What I'm hearing is what you are seeking is seeking you, and you already know it and feel it. Accept it, trust it. And one more thing, as we were getting into, as Tim was talking about the cats, a cat of nine lives, I get with you. But there's a card by Colette Baron Reed, who actually was originally from Toronto. And I believe it's in the deck that is holding up my camera, the wisdom of the oracle. And I see it so clearly. It's this cat that's looking through a telescope, and it's called the Observer card, I believe, which I can't believe I just remembered that, but thanks, Spirit. And it's about a cat is the observer, and then a cat thinks about, do I want to be playful or do I want to be a snarky little, you know? And it's I want to be affectionate, but I'll let you know when I want to be affectionate. And it's to me, it's saying it's time to stop observing so much and stop with that. You're observing because you're afraid of being hurt. Be playful. Be playful. Because even those times that have ended in hurt, remember the times that were so much fun. And that's what I have.
Kelly, As always, time flies when you're here.
Oh.
It's like, I feel like I've been abducted by a UFO because all of a sudden I close my eyes and now it's already time. It's already time to go. What do you got going on? What do you tell us what's happening in the world of
Well,
Kelly
I am
Wahl?
trying to book a date on May 4th with a dear friend of mine to do a message gallery. So hopefully he'll hear this message and check his calendar and get back to me.
I have my day book.
But I've got, I will be on 104.1 WHTT on the podcast for the Laura Daniels show, talking
Awesome.
more about the eclipse and what
Awesome.
is happening energetically with that. You can look me up at KWAHL, Wahl, healingarts.org. I just might put together a little viewing party for the eclipse in Cheektowaga on William Street because, as I looked at the map, the blaze of the solar eclipse will be very, very heightened right there in the proximity of where my wellness center is. So I'm thinking of doing a little gallery reading, some private one-on-one, some healing, and then watch the eclipse together while I play with my sound bowls and just take it all in. So you never know where I'll be or what I'm going to be. So that's why you have to follow me on the socials, K Wahl, Healing Arts.
That's it. That's it. And Miss Wall, just sit back for a couple seconds so I thank you properly off the air, and
thank you.
we can hammer this out. Thank you again. You're always, you know what, you're a delight. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your insanely busy schedule to come here and just hang out. I'll be right
Always a
back.
pleasure. And
You're the
thank you to
best.
all who joined in.
Listen, I don't care what's written on any bathroom wall about you. You are great. But maybe that one might be interesting, but we'll talk about that out there. Okay. I'm sorry.
Right.
I had to send that one in. See you in just a couple seconds on the other side.
You got it.
Kelly I absolutely love when Kelly stops by. We're able to go and we're able to just to have a good time. She's able to give so much knowledge out, so much. It's so interesting, and energy is something that I always love to talk about. I love to work with. So guys, check out Kelly. I'm going to tell you what, in the Western New York area, there's none better. You love her. How can you not love her? You know what I mean? Anyway, speaking about loving, thank you guys for all stopping by. This is Tim Shaw. Where are you at? You're at the Black Cat Lounge, where the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer station. And I'll see you next week. Because why? I love all of you. Bye.